Hello, everybody. I'm Karen Gibbs, Creative Director for Banyan Batiks by Northcott, and you are in the group Karen Gibbs for the love of batiks, because we all love them, don't we? And so it's a lot of fun to talk about how batiks are made, and that's what I focus on with this Facebook Live every week. But I want to see what you guys are up to. So we've done a batik challenge for just a little bit of the summer, and posting a few things here and there as to what you're doing with your batiks, whether it be working on a project, maybe you're just doing a fabric pull, maybe you're doing patterns that you think maybe you'd like to go visit your quilt shop and buy some batiks to go with it or pull it from your stash. Go over to my website, Karen Gibbs Designs, and there's an outline a little bit of what we're doing or what we've done so far. And every other week or so, I post a different challenge or talk about a different challenge. Kickoff weekend was a Memorial Day weekend because we're going to run Memorial Day through maybe July 4th. And the kickoff kind of is get going, start sewing, start cutting some out, show me what you're doing, why you're doing it, tell me who you're making it for. Maybe you're just making a block that you want to try or a technique you want to try. Okay, and I want to see it. And that's what I'm working on. I'm working with my Kaleidoscope collection. I have sample yardage of because it's not going to be in stores until December. And I'm working on a pattern that is something unique to me. I haven't tried before, so I'm super excited, and I'll post some of those photos, hopefully this weekend. Okay. But today I'm talking about color applications. We talked a little bit about color last week and how do you achieve those reds or those grays or those blacks, and why are they difficult to achieve, and the processing of it. This time I want to talk about color, the different color applications, and I want to challenge you to go to your stash or go to your batik wall in your local quilt shop and take a photo of something and say, is this that application you were talking about? Or this is my favorite application. Why? And tell me why. Tell me why you like it. And let's dissect those batiks a little bit. On the batik wall, you see all this beautiful color and you respond to that, but, or maybe it's a motif you respond to. Maybe there's a cute little turtle on there. But I want to see if you recognize the color applications that I'm talking about. And they don't have to be banyan batiks. I want to see what you're responding to in your stash, and we can maybe identify when and where you found that batik. So let me know. All right, so to kick this off, let's talk a little bit. I think we showed some brush strokes, and that's a stripe application, right? So it's like hand painting a stripe on there. And behind me, I have a couple other ones, and these are from the Color Me Banyan group Strata. And they're hand painted stripes as well. And if you look at them, they're more kind of a pencil stripe. If you see little variations of color in there. And the way that is achieved is you're folding it sharper. You know how you accordion style kind of the fabric, you're folding it sharper, and that way you can achieve the ridges of color in there. All right, but the color runs on those length of fabric, so it goes width to width as far as the color repeat. And Scott, I think Scott Flanagan mentioned something about how you would use it. It kind of gives you a piano keyboarder without all the piecing. I love that. I think that's a wonderful way of doing it. It gives you a linear effect. I'm always looking for a geometric effect in quilting when I'm piecing, because I think a geometric gives it just a little more sparkle. Okay. Another application of color that I've got right here is from the Color Me Banyan bursts. Okay, and are you noticing a trend here? We put it in the Color Me Banyan section or collections because it's a technique in batik, and usually it has to do with color application. I've done something on a play date in Indonesia, and that's what we've done. But if you look at this, the normal color application is applied, the smoking process, you know, which is the scrunching of the fabric, and the colors are applied. And then we've kind of done it like a tie-dye, right? Where you burst it by putting like a rubber band or a cotton string around that when you go to apply the color, which is fantastic. It gives nice big bursts. This is, how would you use this? This is wonderful for applique, right? You've got different colors, different motions going on. This works great on borders as well. For piecing, you get a whole bunch of different colors within one piece. Now, if you look up here, we put some of the shadows in there. And that's a basic watercolor kind of batik. It's our essential shadows. And it gives you, it's one tone, right? It's one color, but it's not solid. It kind of has a watercolor effect there. And that's done with the smoking process, or, you know, the scrunching. And then you can see the little bursts in there. Those are the soda ash. The soda ash is kind of like a salt application in a watercolor painting. And that's a normal, that's what we're used to, right? That's a normal kind of batik application of color. All right, here's another stripe. This is from the Florentine Collection, and this will be hitting stores probably within the next month or two. Okay, if you look at the background where the yellow, the gold, and the brown are, the application of color is different than where the green stripe is. Okay, the green stripe is actually the chop. So that's the first color that's applied. And then the background is your yellow and your brown. But it's a color application, and it's done in the normal smoking or the scrunching, and then 2 tones of the color are used, not 4 tones. Whereas the green is more of a quarterin, where it's kind of like a squirt bottle effect, right? You know how you've seen this, and I think in the past, where I've taken a squirt bottle and kind of applied color. So then your repeat of color is within a 4-inch range. All right. So I'm mixing up the applications of color. As I mentioned, Kaleidoscope is the collection that I am working on. And this is kind of like the ice dyeing. Look that up online and see what you think. It's using ice cubes and dry dye and then the fabric. And it just gives kind of like a different effect, right? Kind of a geometric with it. So that's a different color application too. All right. Luster is another, actually, this is 5 color applications. And this one is one of my essentials. But if you look here on this one, okay, you can see in the background, right, it's all of the different colors, and that's applied with a smoking technique or the scrunching, and then all your colors applied, and then it's bleached out, actually. So I'm using the bleach to achieve a color by pulling back the color. And then I'm applying a black over it, okay, a solid kind of black over it. There's also metallic in that and white dots on that. So that one's quite a bit going on there. Okay, Northern Lights. When I talk about the big balls of color or the color application, you can kind of see it in this one, where it's a lot of color right there. Okay, and that's the normal kind of process of the batik application. All right. I think we showed ombres, and we did this a little bit different. This is from the Colorful Collection by Karen Combs, and this is, instead of doing just a straight ombre, we had the definition of color in there, right? And how is that achieved? Okay, because if you start to do smoking process, you're scrunching it up. How do you know where the straight line is? That's kind of hard, right? What we did is we drew lines on the mat that's underneath the fabric and scrunched up the fabric according to the lines that were on the mat or the guide. Okay, that we would use. And that's something that you kind of learn from woodworking, right? I can't remember the name of it, but anyway, it's you have a set thing so you have a guide. All right, and that's how we achieve those right there. All right, so the ombre is something a little bit different as far as color application. Okay. Now, this is the bandana collection, and bandana is hitting stores right now. Okay, so go to your, if you're in the mood to make a July 4th project, get out there. Go to your local quilt shop and grab some. This application, another red. I know you guys love the reds. Okay, but what I wanted to show you is this one. All right, in the motif is a normal application of color where you're scrunching it up, you're applying different colors, right? And then you're bleaching it out because the wax is holding where the stars are. And then see how that black is more of a solid ground, okay? And that is a dip dye, all right? So we can hand paint it on there in consistent in a consistent way, or we can dip it, the whole thing, into a vat of color for the solid look. And it gives it quite a contrast, doesn't it? It really showcases your motif there. Okay, it really showcases the motif that, and it makes it look almost like it's glowing. Okay, I like to use a dip dye in a different fashion, kind of like something like this, so it showcases my motif. Now this is the elevation panel right here. That was the hand painted panel, right? They went and hand painted the color in there. And how did they keep it from going on to this part right here? That's wax. The white was held white with wax. Okay, so then it didn't, even with the hand painting, it kept the green in the location that we wanted. And if you recall, check out YouTube. We have the Flower Power video there. The Flower Power is coming to stores really soon. It's in the quilt behind me as well, where we've got the normal color application, but then hand painting too on here, right? We've got this right here. Now, even in these right here, I've got a whole bunch of different techniques that I've played with, okay? On this red, it's more of a dip dye, right? As far as the background goes, all right? And then on this yellow one, how did I achieve that, the background? Okay, what I did is I dip dyed the yellow, and then I used a corturin or the squirt bottle kind of thing to give those kind of speckles of the rust on there. And the one featured in the YouTube video that we have is this one right here. And you can see how the dip dye is done, and then kind of the corturin effect on there. Okay, so those are a whole bunch of color applications, techniques that we use when we determine what we're trying to put together as far as a collection. So yes, we have a theme with a collection, so it all goes together. But I play with different techniques in color and application because it makes it more interesting. So get out there, take a look at that batik wall, and tell me what kind of color applications you see. You can see in the back here, we've got different color applications in the BFFs. That one is going to be in stores in August. But in the motif, I've done a lot of color application, and you can see the color changes are within a 4-inch square. That means it's a corturin technique. The background is the black, right? So that means it was dip dyed. It's flat. It's very flat. Okay. Whereas this one right here has more big balls of color, okay, in the background as well as in the motif. So I doubled up. I chose about 4 different colors in motif and 4 different colors in the background on that. All right. So I'm going to see what you guys are up to in your batik challenge, but I also want to see if you are recognizing differences in technique in your batiks. I'm Karen Gibbs, and you are in the group for the love of batiks.